and goes ahead and implements those policies that their constituency would never have voted for in a million years, it's a big fucking problem. And a lot of times it's because the constituency has no idea that these lobbyists had made these deals with them to begin with.
I really like that cigarette example. I feel like it is very, very nice. I also have some personal ties to that since my family owns one of the cigarette companies that was involved in the lawsuit.
My family owns one of the cigarette companies that was involved in the lawsuit.
Let's say I want
No, I understand. I understand the position. I get it.
I want the color red to be the national color of the United States.
Yeah, I don't know how many times I can tell you I understand the position.
Wait, I don't think you do, because
yeah, I do.
Let me just explain real quickly. It'll take less than a minute, okay? Let's say I want the color red to be the national color of the United States, right? So I vote for this politician because he wants the color red to be the national color of the United States. So when that politician gets elected, I expect them to vote on policy that will make the national color of the United States red. However, if big money comes in and goes, no, make it blue to the politician, and they vote for blue, I'm going to be able to tell that this guy's not voting for what I want. So in the next election cycle, I will not vote. Which means that he will then lose the next election because his whole voting base like the color red, or majority of it.
Okay, so can you agree with me that oftentimes there's core issues in which constituents vote around, and then there's sub-issues that they don't know anything about, and if they knew about what those sub-issues were, they may change their minds on their vote?
I agree. That's why I feel like we have to...
No. So you agree that that's true, right?
Yes. Yeah,
okay, gotcha. So if lobbying groups are passing things in the background using big money that are sub-issues that voters don't even know about, they're not able to adequately make up their mind. They may think that they're voting, and they may still vote that politician in for a second term because they don't know what's going on in the background. That's massive influence on our elections, massive influence on our campaigns. You're saying that as long as the government can be fooled, or the government can fool the people enough, and corporations can fool people enough by doing backdoor dirty deeds, and the people themselves only see the upfront policy positions, that as long as they're voting, then that's just fine in your worldview.
Yeah, people will vote for the positions that they want. I don't think it's okay. I think some of the, like 70 million people voted for Trump. I don't like Trump personally. And I think that's bad. However, I think that's the American people's fault.
You're not answering my question.
Nothing to do with big money.
So let me ask you this again.
Rephrase your question.
You cannot make an informed decision about policy if you don't even know what's going on in these backroom lobbying deals. You see the upfront policies. You see the upfront policies, but you may not even know what these subcategorical policies might be that they're passing. You have no idea because you're only focusing on core issues. That has to do also with the lobbying media. Media will sometimes only cover certain issues until they're drilled into the public consciousness. That is not a fair way to run a democratic election cycle. It's not a fair way to run democracy at all. That's insane. It's an insane take to say as long as you can be fooled into agreeing with a policy and then voting for it, that it's okay and dark money's fine.
Yeah, I don't see where the question was. So let me ask you a question, okay? Let's say you vote for candidate A because he supports position A.
We've already voted this, I know.
Wait, let's say that candidate votes for position B. Would you vote for him again?
It depends on what the issue is. It's
the only issue you care about. It's the issue that you care about the most.
Okay, fine. Let's yield that it's true. What's your point?
So if lobbying changed the politician's mind to disagree with you, why the fuck
so let's counter that with, what if there was a bunch of subcategory bills that were being passed that I didn't know about, that if I did know about them, regardless of what this core issue was, I still wouldn't vote for this politician if it came to the light of day.
I agree. Right? That's on you. That's on you to find out what those policies are.
It's on wait. It's on me to go find out what backroom deals are going on and things like that. It's on me to do that.
These sub policies that these like non-core policies that the politicians are voting for are open. When politicians vote on shit, it's like completely open who voted on what policy. So you go to that policy.
Oh no! You're framing this incorrectly. While that's true, what about things like, look, we can once you get reelected, or let's say you're running to the end of your life cycle as a congressman or something like this, lobbyists come in and say, okay, you can run on this core issue. We'll give you tons and tons of money to run on it. People go ahead and they vote you in, not knowing that you're going to be supporting lobbying bills that they would normally have been against had they known that these lobbyists were approaching these politicians. That's not public knowledge.
Wait, 100%. Wait, it's not public knowledge at the time, right? So you don't know what they're going to vote for, or you're not going to know what
But
they're
they
going to vote for.
oftentimes will have things like this pre-planned in advance.
Yes, you're right. You're right. I
Yeah,
completely agree
and
with
that's
you.
all
So-
due to the influence of large money and corporate interests. How in the world can you reconcile that in a democracy that's not massively problematic?
So, when a politician votes, you can see how they voted. So when the next election cycle comes up, you don't vote for them. You can't do it in the moment, but what you can do is you can, after the fact, see, hey, I voted on this issue. This politician did not.
What part of it's the end of their life cycle did you not understand? So let's say they're
Well,
coming.
if it's the last time they're
going to
running, why does it matter?
It matters because you cannot make informed decisions based on
Wait, you're right.
lobbyist petitions that may have been done in backroom deals. So you vote this person in based on this core issue. I don't know why you're smiling. This is a super fucking big problem, man.
Because
it's funny to you.
Because
but that's fine. I mean, you can giggle and snark, but you're still wrong. If a politician makes dirty backroom deals with lobbyists, then gets elected and goes ahead and implements those policies that their constituency would never have voted for in a million years, it's a big fucking problem. And a lot of times it's because the constituency has no idea that these lobbyists had made these deals with them to begin with. You agree already that that's true, but for some reason you don't think it's problematic, like the system works itself out. It doesn't work itself out.
So if a politician is at the end of his career, and if you weren't going to vote for him anyways, why does it matter? You're just going to vote for the other candidate that wanted that.
Well, because we're stuck with the policy. That's why it matters.
But you're not. Policies can be revoked.
Yeah, but you're stuck with them for X amount. You're stuck with them for X amount of time. Yes, you are.
Wait, can you show me like any policy that's like you cannot change this policy?
I didn't say that they couldn't be changed. I said that you're stuck with them for X amount of time once they're voted in. Then you have to go in and you have to start petitioning the government to change law. It's difficult to do.
You don't have to talking about. You just have to vote.
I mean, do you think it's instant? Is that what you think? Like it's an instantaneous thing, or
so they had to write a bill. They had to write a bill to pass that policy, right?
Yeah.
Just write a bill that does the opposite. That like takes the policy out, revokes the policy, undoes the policy.
Yes, I'm with you. What's your point?
So then, why can't they just undo the policy?
You're dealing with party politics. That's why. What do you mean?
What is a party politics like? I don't.
You don't know what party politics are?
I completely understand. You vote on party lines, right? But if you elect a representative, and if that representative doesn't represent you, you will elect a representative which represents you, and then that representative will undo the bill that the previous representative, which didn't represent you.
It does not work like that in real time. No, I don't know where you get this idea that that's how that works in real time. They don't often come in and just revoke whatever you want. Do you understand that you have to have X amount of votes in Congress in order for a bill to get passed or removed?
Exactly. So let's say.
So hang on. So you go in and you, let's say, elect somebody from your state to go in there and get rid of whatever this bill is. They still have to deal with party politics, right? They have to have X amount of votes in order to remove whatever this sub bill was that you didn't want in the first place. It's possible the person that you elected, who was at the end of their life cycle, was the deciding vote on that bill. They might have even been the deciding vote on that bill. I don't know why this is hard for you to understand. This is not something where it's just the congressman writes the bill and that's it. It's done. It's all over with. That's absurd.
If they were the deciding vote, right? And they're
that doesn't mean they will be 4 years later, does it?
Yeah, it doesn't, right? Because they're going to be swapped out by someone who's on the other side. And if those people disagree with the current government, then your problem isn't lobbyists. Your problem is the American political system. Your problem is that you need a supermajority to pass a bill. Your problem is how democracy is carried out.
If you got rid of the dark money and the lobbying, many of those problems wouldn't happen. The petitions come directly from people's money instead of large corporate money. The problem with Citizens United is that they said that corporate money is speech. so that corporations could make these mass conglomerates. They also allow super PACs. Super PACs can do unfettered amounts of spending, outside spending, on behalf of a candidate, which is completely and totally unfair, while at the same time pretending that they don't know anything about it.
Yeah, you're agreeing with what I'm saying, right? So I agree lobbying is a real thing. Money does go into politics. I'm just saying it doesn't trump the American voter. If the American voter will vote on whatever they want,
The American voter is not informed. The media conglomerate.
Okay, that's the problem. I agree. I agree.
Okay, but a lot of that's due to lobbying.
No. Oh.
Do you think that making an ass of yourself and being spastic and autistic is helpful to your case?
No, because like I don't know how you're missing this. How is the American how is it lobbying's fault that the American voter is uneducated?
I've just gotten done telling you multiple times that they can come in and influence the future of a political vote, right?
Yeah.
Yes. They can plan it out strategically over a 6 or 7 year span, utilizing.
Do you get educated over your vote? Do you get educated from your vote? Does your education come from your vote? No, it comes from schools, right? That's where you get educated.
What the fuck are you talking about? Who cares?
If the American voter is uneducated,
education from what?
You were literally saying American voters are uneducated, and you're saying how that's lobbying's fault, and I'm saying, well, isn't that a school thing if they're uneducated? School problem?
Dude, you're killing me. Listen very closely to the words that are coming out of my mouth. It's very important that you understand. I didn't say that they're uneducated, I said they're uninformed. Uninformed about what might be going on in backroom deals. They strategically plan this over a 5 to 7 year plan. Okay. Often this happens often. I don't know why you think that this is not problematic. You say that it's up to the will of the voter, but the voters themselves are being massively influenced by these backroom deals. They don't even know what's going on. Okay. You can strategically play house politics to where you know that you can get laws passed using lobbying money. Okay. And then you know that there might be an election cycle where, let's say that this law favors a Democrat, a Republican is the deciding vote. And then in the next cycle, you know that the likelihood that you're going to have a Democratic majority is very high. These companies bank on that, let's say in this scenario. And now you can't get rid of the fucking law because you have a majority in there. This is a big, big, huge, massive, giant problem.
Okay. So let's go through this logically. Okay?
Yeah, let's.
The point of American democracy is to represent the voter. Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. If the voter isn't being represented, the voter is going to actively try to fix that by voting for people who represent them.
We've already established this. Yes.
Okay. If lobbyists come in and change, let's say they change every single politician. Let's say they lobby every single politician, they flip their policies completely. Okay, these are the evil versions of these politicians. The people in the next election cycle will go, this isn't the guy I voted for. He isn't passing the policies that I want to. So I'm going to vote him out, and I'm going to vote someone that will actually do the job properly and that will represent me in. Right?
We just went over this. It's what you're doing is you're making an oversimplification. This is a far more dynamic system than how you are presenting it as being. You're saying,
people vote every
if we don't like your policies, we're going to vote you out of office. However,
is that not what happens?
No, it's not what happens because it's not what happens due to party politics.
Okay, if you're playing into party politics, you're voting, right? You're making your voice heard.
Yes, but party politics, you can have 32 states divided against against X amount of states. What are you talking about? You can have one state that sends up a congressman that ends up being a deciding vote on key legislation, and they time it knowing that there's likely going to be, based on historical trends, a massive party shift, and then you can't get rid of X law. This is not as simplistic as, oh, well, so for instance, Lorenzo, are congressmen elected nationally?
No.
Oh, they're not. They're not. It's done by the state. So would you say that some congressmen have more influence than other congressmen?
Like, what do you mean by influence? Like,
they could be on, for instance, committees. Speakers. They may be. They may have enormous power in comparison to junior freshman congressmen, right?
Yeah.
All right. Would you say that even navigating House rules for a freshman congressman would probably be something that's fairly difficult to even learn how to do?
Probably, yeah.
Probably, yeah. So what you end up with is you end up with this massive system where you can't just, oh, I'm going to get rid of this guy, send a new guy in, because you still have 200 other votes that you have to contend with from other states, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You can have a deciding factor from one state for one election cycle. And by the time it comes to you being able to pull that person out, there's a slide that goes the other way. This is problematic. Lobbyists play the odds, literally.
Do you realize you, in that whole description, you didn't mention lobbying once until like the very, very end? I think your
So
problem
what?
is with American democracy.
Yeah, but
and
so
how,
what?
like,
So what
bills
if
are
I didn't
passed.
mention it until the end? Just because I tie it all together with a big giant bow for you doesn't mean
Wait,
anything.
what did you say? What did you say about lobbyists at the end?
I said that lobbyists play the odds.
Okay, that doesn't relate to anything that you were saying before. You're just saying the lobbyists.
Yes, it does
right?
relate exactly
So,
to what I was
so
saying before.
you
Why
described.
are you having a hard time understanding what I'm saying? What part are you confused about, Lorenzo?
So you described the whole system, the whole like of